We're good.
All right. Hello and welcome to Jedi and the Mailman, the show where two old friends aim to deliver the best Star Wars talk in the galaxy. I'm Mike the Mailman. That's Jimmy the Jedi.
I'm
Follow
very excited.
Jimmy. You seem very excited. Follow Jimmy on all the socials. Jimmy the Jedi. Or what is Old Guy Jedi, right?
Old guy Jedi, but I don't
Old
ever
Guy
post
Jedi.
anything on that. So just follow me and explore the Force.
Yes, definitely follow Explore the Force. Check out the latest episode and all the cool stuff about Star Wars Outlaws. I was
Oh yeah,
asking Jimmy before we got on here how much time he spent since Sunday playing, and he's been a good boy and not played any.
I haven't. Yeah, I
Much
haven't
fun.
been able to since Sunday. I woke up early and played before church, and I played after church, and I got into it. Like I wasn't into it the
Yeah.
first couple days. Like I got it on Tuesday, played it for like an hour and a half, wasn't feeling it, and just like I said, I know myself. Um, I get
Well, by
overwhelmed
our,
with
by our
news.
age, you better know yourself or you're in trouble.
Yeah, and like I said, like I know my flaws. I know,
Mhm.
and so I'm starting to figure it out a little bit. But I have to reset. I got to play
Yeah.
it once, and I got to reset, and then I can kind of get into it for some reason. I feel
Mhm.
like because you start off and it's all herky jerky because you don't know what the hell you're
Yeah.
doing. You play for an hour or two, and then you haven't really done much, so you just
Right.
reset. And you get through that hour or two in like 45 minutes,
Mhm.
and then you're off to it, and you have a stronger start. And it just seems to, for me, it
It
just kind
makes
of seems
sense.
to,
I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
flow. Well, this game, I mean, nothing really happened.
True. Yeah, it's.
So,
I am looking
but
forward to playing it. I don't know when I'll get around to buying it, but it is the type of game that I like. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Red Dead Redemption series, and the big open world concept games they're right up my alley. So I am looking forward to it. And maybe by the time I get around to it, it'll have some of those kinks ironed out and whatnot. So maybe it'll be a better gaming experience. Like you
I
said, I
haven't had
don't
any
think you've had
issues.
any issues at all. Jack,
So,
Jack seemed to have all kinds of issues
yeah, but his was computer
on PC. Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah. Plus he's in that other
turns out
country, you know?
his computer wasn't strong enough to start it.
Yeah.
Um, but he's enjoyed it. He's playing on his phone, which I don't know see how you can play a game that's so beautiful
Yeah, that would be
on your
odd.
cell phone. And I was shocked that you could do the stuff he was telling us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I behaved myself. Sucks, teaching
Mhm.
back and forth. This is why all summer long I was complaining that my only because everyone's like, "Oh, I hate this game already," and they hadn't played it yet. And the only
Yeah.
thing I argued was, I hate the fact that it's not coming out until school
Till
starts.
school starts.
'Cause I could have crushed it and been
You could have
done.
spent days on it. Yeah.
Yeah, sat there and just been like, you know, beard
Mhm.
down to my belly button and stuff. So,
All
Imperial
pale.
Activities here. Howdy
All right.
RFP. We got Kurt JW on Instagram. We got Star Wars Universe 10 on Instagram. We got Sparkly 4 on Instagram.
All right.
Imperial Activity said, what does he say? Hang on a second. He says, did watch a 2.5 hour cut scenes movie this past Saturday afternoon. I thought it's a good, fun story. Yeah, I tell you, RFB, so far I've enjoyed it. Um, I don't know what people want. Like,
Nobody
you're
knows.
never happy.
No.
And I don't get it. I mean, well, I will say this, and Mike knows my brother Justin, and
Mhm.
Justin and I are different. He told me this summer. He goes, "You're the most positive person," which I'm not really. Like I'm pretty negative, like negative Nancy, and always like, "Oh, the end of the world is coming." He goes, "When it
Mhm.
comes to Star Wars, like you just," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't like some things. I've liked this stuff, and maybe
Mhm.
I'm overdoing it for whatever reason, but I haven't seen anything that's wrong with it. It stresses me out a little bit,
Yeah.
the game, because it's like you're trying to like you had like I got to this point where I had to make a decision. Do I screw over Crimson Dawn, or
Mhm.
did I go after the Pikes? And of course, given what we're talking about tonight, and the
Yeah.
fact that I'm going to be gushing all over the place, um, I can't do Crimson Dawn. I mean that's gonna
Right.
drive me the whole time, because if I haven't got to see if Kira's in it yet, I'm pretty sure I heard she is, but
Yeah.
there's no way I'm doing anything wrong to Kira. I mean, what she does to Han, I understand it's for his own good, but
Right.
um, I just don't think I could do anything bad to Crimson Dawn.
Yeah, well,
So, but it's stressful, I think. And it's way
yeah,
different than it's all about like I don't know, it's fun. I like it. It's
yeah.
different. It's gonna take me
I know.
you need time to sit and play it, I think. I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can do short little missions here and there, but I don't feel like the story grabs you if you're doing it in chunk like just little bits at a
Yeah,
time. Like
yeah,
when you can play it out, like
right.
Imperial said, like 2.5 hour cutscene, like probably a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So
But yeah, it can. I mean, I know myself. Like, those games can just grab hold of you and demand all your attention. You think, well, okay, let me do this one bounty hunting mission real
and
quick, and
then
then that's done, and then like, oh, I could jump over here and do this real quick, and then before you know it, this quick little missions are turning into hours time spent, and you can't
yeah.
pull yourself away.
I will be honest, typically when a new game comes out, if it's during school for Star Wars only, I'll take the day off that comes out
Yeah.
or take a day off that week. But with going to Japan, can't really
Mm.
swing it. I
Got to
got
save that leave time.
yeah, and I got sick a couple years ago. This is before COVID. I was just dealing with all kinds of like physical stuff. And
Yeah.
so I ate through I mean, I had never missed a day of work.
Yeah.
And then I just started missing like I mean, I like it was insane. I'm surprised I still
Yeah.
have a job. So I've been trying to build that back up. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I haven't played much, 4, maybe 5 hours, 2 thumbs up so far.
Yeah.
Um, Nyx is awesome. It's a little repetitive, but what video game's not, you know?
Right.
Um, and you just kind of go with that. And the story's been good so far. And I mean, I barely know anything. I haven't even gotten that commando droid partner or whatever, any of that stuff I haven't gotten
Mm.
yet. So I'm like just baby steps crawling into the game, I think. So I do suggest you grab it, play it.
Yeah, like I said,
It'll be
probably
fun.
that's going to be on my Christmas list, probably. So
Yeah,
we'll
for
see.
sure.
After you guys have all beat it, then I'll be getting on there like, oh, let's talk about it.
Uh-oh. Let's flip that then, Jimmy. You think Crimson Dawn would do any good to help you out in the game? I expect we'll find out as you play. Yeah, we'll see. I'll probably end up victim to Crimson Dawn. They'll backstab me, and I won't see it coming because I'll be blinded by my love for Kira, all things solo. So, but yeah, I mean, they make it pretty clear that you're going to get screwed
Yeah.
constantly, as far as as soon as they need to throw someone under the rug, under the bus or whatever. And
Yeah,
that'll probably be
I got no problem with switching allegiances and whatnot in those games. I know in Red Dead Redemption, I got no problem if I'm mad at my card game isn't going well. I'll shoot the other guy across from me. It doesn't bother me.
nice,
my
nice.
my I sometimes have to go and work on my what is it, your meter that tells you whether you're, on the good guy
Oh,
or bad guy
yeah,
side. Sometimes I got to go do some nice things for people to get it back up to where it's because it just gets you get too much on the bad side everywhere you go. The cops are right on you, and you can't get anything done. So
yeah. That's what it looks like this game will be like. Right now, I've got decent reputation with the two of them. Nothing with
mm,
the Huts yet. Um, and like if you sneak around, and don't get caught, then you don't get in trouble. So I'm
mm,
just being real cautious and real sneaky. And I think it's going to take me like I know some of the people we watch, like the guy who loves Star Wars YouTube channel, really big. He's gunned it like he finished it in a week,
geez,
and I'm like, I mean, I didn't watch all of his feeds. He was probably doing like 3 hours at a time or so. And I don't know. I mean, he's coming on the show, which we're pretty excited for that.
that's cool.
Um, we're just going to talk. We have a really good topic for him too, so we're pretty excited for
Yeah.
that. I don't want to give too much away, but I can tell you off air. But
Okay.
uh, he flew through it. I know, like a lot of people, just they fly through these games. And I know you want to be the first content creator to get it out there.
Yeah,
But
when you're coming at it
it's
from
like
that
Star
angle.
Wars. You can only play it for the first time once.
Yeah.
So if you sit
Yeah.
there and you rush through it, um,
I wouldn't enjoy that, but I'm not a
so
online gamer or anything. Just
uh-oh, Imperial wants me to think it through. I will take the lesson Cobb Van taught and think it through. I thought you were going to give me a Beckett lesson. We'll talk about Beckett in
mm,
a little bit, but all right. So one piece of news I want to jump into real quick. I kind of wanted your opinion on this, Mike, and you heard us talk about it on the show today,
yep.
probably. Keanu Reeves supposedly was supposed to have been in the Acolyte. He was supposed to be Soul.
Mm.
right? I don't know if you listen to our comments or whatever, but
Yeah.
my concern was it kind of flies in the face of what Leslie and I'm not I like the show. Like I think people who watch us know that I enjoyed the show. Not
Hmm.
perfect by any means. I thought a season 2 would easily be better than season 1.
Yeah.
Um, but it kind of flies in the face of her saying that she wanted Lee Jung Jae all along.
Hmm.
So that kind of
Yeah,
was like,
absolutely.
well, what else has she not told us?
Yeah.
And then those are the little things where like that's what stuff kind of bothers me because like she's lying to us a
Hmm.
little bit. No, I know it's Hollywood and they
Or,
gotta say the right things, but you could just say, "Hey, I'm so excited that we got Lee Jung Jae." Like,
hmm
don't lie and say, "Well, we it had to be him," you
yeah.
know?
I don't know. With all this reporting, I never know
Yeah,
who's actually telling the truth or who. Like, honestly,
so
it doesn't make sense to me, that casting at all. Like, I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan. I think he'd be, there's a spot for him in Star Wars somewhere. He's a
well,
great actor, but I don't think
that's
this was the right spot for him. And I'm not sure I actually believe that he was supposed to be in it. I don't know.
see, there had been rumors leading up to it that he had a small role in it somehow. Like,
Hmm.
those rumors had leaked, and I think Imperial Activity can probably tell us. I'm sure Best and Bulletin and some of those other people, like the people who are like to break stuff. I know that there were rumors that everyone thought he was gonna be some, evil Sith Lord or something. It was gonna be a small part. That was one of the rumors that was flying around early. And I just wonder, like, I don't think his performance would have been any better than Lee Jung Jae. It would have
No,
been different,
no, absolutely
but
not.
I mean, Keanu's not like a Shakespearean actor.
No,
He
yeah.
F's
And
everybody
that
up.
Yeah, that part is still that part. Like, I don't think they would have
Yeah.
written it any differently. I don't think it would have gone down any differently just because he was
Mm.
the one acting it.
He needs to
Eh,
be like a Ronin Jedi
mhm,
looking for redemption or something,
yeah.
like, that would be
He
amazing.
he might have been good as a stranger,
Oh,
although,
yeah.
I mean, man, he knocked it out the park. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
no doubt about it, but, I mean,
Yeah.
I could see him in that role, but I don't know. I'm sure he could have done Soul as well, but I just don't see, just doesn't make sense, honestly, to me.
Yeah, so rumors in months before its release
Mhm.
that they're gonna be there. You guys out there listening and paying attention, if you're still there, would you wanted Keanu Reeves? Like, I guess, do you want Keanu Reeves to be in The Acolyte? Do you want him to be in Star Wars? Could he have saved The Acolyte? I don't see how. I
No.
don't know. Does he deflect enough hate? That and this is I don't wanna get super political or whatever because I know that not everyone who disliked the show disliked it. They're not all racist and they're not all
No,
misogynist and
no,
all
no.
no, people legitimately don't like the show, and I
Mhm.
support those people, like, you should like what you like and don't what you don't, but don't
Yep.
spread hate and vitriol everywhere.
Right.
But for those people who didn't like it because of who the cast was, does Keanu Reeves' presence more people tuning in because it is
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves? Like, does he save the Acolyte? And, I mean, granted, he would have died in season 1, but if
Mhm.
he's Soul, and then, and it's always just a big giant what if,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think is, if the viewership numbers that we're hearing are true, that there's a pretty decent turnout for the first one and second one, and then it just dropped off a cliff. Uh, you know, maybe if Carrie Ann Moss's part was longer, like she dies in the first episode, maybe that, some people were probably tuning in for her. She's got a big following, and
yeah, she
maybe, if Keanu Reeves is in it, maybe that does bring more eyeballs, and maybe more people do hang around and watch. But as far as playing the part any better or any worse, I don't see it.
yeah. So that yeah, I just kind of want to get your take on. I know you're a Keanu
Yeah,
Reeves fan. I mean, I think if you're a dude, you're probably a Keanu Reeves fan, right?
yeah, you got to be.
I
He
mean,
is the
John
dude.
Wick, Neo, like everything
Hmm.
he's done. I mean, don't forget the Lake House was
Right.
Sandra Bullock. I mean,
Mm.
maybe his best.
I didn't see that one. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. What's up, Brando?
Hey.
We're just talking a little Keanu Reeves in Star Wars. What's your thoughts? And then we're going to dive into, I mean, I don't want to be biased and drive the show one way or the other, but quite possibly the greatest Star Wars film ever made. Um, and
Yeah,
I
we'll
feel
get
like,
into
yeah, we'll get into it here a little bit. So,
it.
but
What about the other Accolade news, that Forbes article I sent you? Uh,
Yes, yes, and it fits with my narrative, and I mean, who the hell am I? But
yeah,
nothing has come out from Disney. I
right.
mean, but,
I don't know.
um
Maybe they're banking on. I mean, there's been some fan petitions and whatnot out there.
I
There's been
signed one.
some, did you? There's
Yeah,
been, a lot of positive comments and whatnot supporting some of the actors and actresses and
yeah,
what, like, they're just all actors now, but all the actors and whatnot that were in it. See, I mean, the hardcore fans are out and vocal,
yeah.
and it seems
Which
like the
a little late.
actors, yeah, yeah, true, but I mean, it seems like the actors, and is it really too late? Is it ever
No,
too
I don't
late?
think so. I mean,
Yes,
because they've
they
never
bring
come out
things
and said
back.
anything official.
Yeah, they bring things
So,
back from the brink all the time. But yeah, I don't. It seems like all the actors are game for another and pushing for it and hoping for it. So who knows?
Imperial says, just had a chat with my youngest girl. She started at first week of college. She tried to watch on my D plus, but didn't like it, and that's all right. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not for everybody. But I've had so many conversations with people who haven't finished it or didn't watch it because, well, they heard it change canon. I'm like, I mean, I guess it's all just like Kenobi says, it's all from a certain point of view. If
Yeah.
you want it to change canon, it can. If you don't want it to, it hasn't, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I like that article. It kind of fits with what, was my thing is like, what if at Celebration in Japan, they announced The Apprentice? The Acolyte's
Hmm.
canceled, but The Apprentice is out now, or it's coming in 2 years or whatever. And I just, the ultimate flex, but it is a money game. And I
Hmm.
mean, I think if Kathleen Kennedy were to push for that, this would be her. I mean, this would probably put her job on the line.
Yeah.
So
What's she have to lose? She's made tons of money.
yeah,
She's got to be ready
but
to retire.
yeah. Brando says change canon, man. They ruined George's legacy and ideas. My child is ruined. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Brendan feels the same way we do about that nonsense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I anybody honestly, I think anybody that watched maybe the first episode or two and checked out and decided it wasn't for them, I'd really encourage them to go back and just watch the whole thing. What do you got to lose? And then see how you feel afterwards.
watch
Because
one,
like we said,
3, 5, 7, and 8. I
yeah,
mean, really, there's only
go-
one episode that third episode kind of. If you were on the edge, I think that third episode could have probably tipped you the wrong
it
way.
could. Hmm.
But I was intrigued by it. Like I wanted more. I wanted to know the
Yeah,
story. You knew like that's
yeah.
not the
There
first.
was, I mean, every episode there was it was ended almost always ended on a cliffhanger. You always wanted, well, what's going to happen next? But yeah, I usually, it's very rarely that I just drop out of a show, especially something like Star Wars, where my life is invested in every all the movies and all the everything. I'm not probably not gonna check out, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, give it a shot. What do you got to lose? A couple hours of your
yeah.
life. You've watched
I
crappier
haven't.
stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. I saw someone talking about the new season 2 of The Power of the Rings.
Hmm.
People are saying that it's already better than the first season.
Oh yeah, I
I
enjoyed the first season.
Yeah, I thought it was slow, but I thought it got better. And
Yeah.
people were saying like, "Hey, I was gonna wait a while and then try to dive into it." I'm not a huge. I mean, I like the Lord of the Rings,
Hmm.
but it shows you that like they can make adjustments and they can improve.
Hmm.
People had
For sure.
complained, they listened to them and they fixed it. Like,
Hmm.
and people, I
Well,
mean, if you have a legitimate group of people, even in the acolyte saying like, "Well, this doesn't make sense," like you kind of have to listen to it.
yeah, for sure.
Unless it's totally against the story that you're trying to tell and something that's coming up down the road, but no
Hmm.
one's perfect. Like,
No.
I couldn't write a screenplay or,
Yeah. Well, just think about any series you've ever watched that's gone more than a couple seasons. Like, is the first season ever the best?
yeah, not typically. I mean,
Yeah,
it has to be good enough to hook you,
right.
but,
But
a
it
lot of
usually
people
gets
have said
better.
yeah. Says Brendan says, "Man, I miss those acolyte days already talking after every episode. It was a good season. I
Hmm.
bet we see Chimera and Plagueis in future content." Yeah, Manny was
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, everyone, even if people who hated the show liked Manny.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, how could you
he
not?
he seems like, the news coming out where he's like, "What's your life goals in life?" He's like, "Season 2."
Yeah,
So, maybe who knows? We'll see. We'll
yeah.
see. We'll keep
There's still lots to talk about it. Like with
yeah.
everything else that's going on, all people are still talking about that show. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, the next show hasn't started yet. It doesn't start until
They haven't really pushed
November,
hard on it
but
either.
yeah, but people are still talking. Even like Force Center, their most recent episode was a Q&A about what did you like about the Acolyte. Like they're still talking about it. Like
Yeah.
it's still out there in the zeitgeist. People are still it's still driving conversation.
Yeah, and I think it will for a while.
Hmm.
I mean, I think for people who liked it are going to be upset. I mean, I am, and people who didn't like it, they feel like they have that win. And I know that article talked a little bit about that in
Yeah,
Forbes.com. If I can remember, I'll try to attach that article to the YouTube channel.
yeah, it's a
Um,
quick read.
yeah, it was real quick, but it's just said some of the things I thought with Kathleen Kennedy. Like, I'm not the biggest
Mhm.
supporter of her, but I also like just can't see her passing up this opportunity to be like,
Yeah, stick it to
you
him a
know,
little bit.
kind of stick it to her whole jam has been this, and I was talking, well, I can't really give that away, about some stuff that's coming up, but, just some people, but yeah, all right, well, we'll just leave it at that. So,
Okay.
again, once we're off air.
All
Um,
right.
so, but anyways, yeah, so we'll see. I'm sure we'll still be talking about it into I hope that
Yep.
Skeleton Crew doesn't suffer because of it, though. Like, I don't want it to end up
I mean, it's not
like
going to
this
in
ended
my
up
mind.
because of a divisive Star Wars show, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
want this and we're gonna talk about this and, like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Soon.
so soon. Soon, soon, soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think for me, nothing about the Acolyte's going to ruin my enjoyment or lack of enjoyment of a Skeleton Crew. You can judge
Yeah,
everything on its own merit.
well, I meant mostly, like,
Just the way
people
they go forward with
Solo
Star Wars
suffered
TV and stuff. Yeah,
Solo suffered 'cause the fandom menace is out there telling everyone not to go watch it, which I'm like, "Why
yeah.
would you tell people not to go I mean, I get it, but I don't get
I
it at the
don't.
same time.
Yeah,
Like, why
yeah.
would you like, the chances of it being good, we have no idea, and
Hmm.
so I'm just hoping people haven't checked out from Star Wars.
Yeah,
I mean, like, "Oh, I quit. This isn't my Star Wars." Well, fine, go away. You don't
right.
need to be here anymore, but,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, that's it. It'd be great if that was how it could really work. Anybody who doesn't enjoy it, just go away. We don't need you here. But honestly, we need everybody because that's on. It's a business. The more viewers, the more money, the more they're willing to invest, the better the product. Theoretically. So
yeah, no, I
yeah.
agree. I agree. So, Jay Tallis is here. Man, shouldn't you be asleep? Isn't it like
How
and
could you
he's
sleep when this show is
hours ahead
on?
of me. You should be in bed, sir.
You
Man,
can't miss this amazing content.
I
Where
guess
would you
not.
ever get it?
Yeah, I know. You can just watch it, on YouTube when you're awake.
It's
But
not the
hey,
same. Not
we
the same.
appreciate you being here and listening
Absolutely.
to us. But so you ready? Because I'm chomping at the bit
I'm
here, man.
ready.
Freaking out, man.
Well, let's get
Freaking
into
out.
it.
So I got to tell the story, and I told it on the podcast today.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, it was crazy.
I had been school's been rough. Not been able to get back into it. No fault. My classes are fine. Like the kids aren't
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
and the kids aren't bad. I enjoy the kids. I've been having fun. We've got good rapport with most of them. I cannot get back into the school year for some reason. Something's just kind of blocking me. And
Well, you had
um,
a great summer, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was pretty laid back and chill. And
yeah.
you
And
know,
that, I mean, that could definitely be, when you have a great off time, it really
that's the
makes the
problem.
getting back
Yeah.
on hard.
So, and usually I come in all gung ho, ready to change the world. I'm going to be, I'm
Yeah.
going to stand and deliver and all this stuff. And then, 2 weeks in, I'm like, oh my God, this job
Oh
is
God.
hard. So, um, but I had watched Solo, I think Tuesday and Wednesday.
Mhm.
I can't stay up that late because I'm old. And, um, so I put it in because I'm like, I need something. I hadn't seen anything Star Wars since the Acolyte, really. I'm like, I need some Star Wars.
Mhm.
So I turned that on. That's always my go to,
Mhm.
always. And, watching it, and then the next night we turned it on and we finished it, and I was just telling Molly, I'm like gushing, I'm like, I love this movie. I don't know why people don't like this movie. Like this is like such a fun ride, blah blah blah. And then what Friday, I think, or is it Thursday? Mike comes up with a lot of the topics we do because I've been doing other things, and so he's his focus is this show, and then we collaborate on things, and he's like, "Hey, let's talk. Would you be interested in rewatching Solo and talking about why you love it so much?" And then I can kind of like you know push back on it a little bit because
Hmm.
like we'll talk about your change of heart, I guess, a little bit here.
Hmm.
But I was like, "Huh, would I like to rewatch Solo?" I mean, I almost put it back on, and I almost put it back on tonight just to,
Oh yeah,
but I've got to stay married, and
yeah, yeah.
so,
Can't just
but
do what you want to do.
yeah, I just can't do what I want. But we've been watching the rookie. So, anyways, yeah,
Yeah,
I love Solo. I've
yeah.
loved it from the get go. I thought that was crazy that I
Hmm.
hadn't watched it in a while, and then you were like, "Hey, let's do this," and I was like,
Yeah, it's after hearing that story today on the podcast, it's just so funny how that all turned out. Because I'm guessing, after last week's topic and you pulling out two of the characters from the show that you really really enjoyed, that probably got it in your head. And then I know that's kind of what got it in my head too, because I'm bouncing out, just thinking, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? Well, we could talk about this. Can I make a whole meal out of this? Like we talk about this. Can I make a meal out of that? Why don't we just talk about Solo? And then, here we are.
"Yeah."
What's Imperial
Imperial
say?
says, "Gotta say, I wanted to, in the worst way, to send a Yun's an email of my thoughts and on Solo. More important, what it taught me. Hey, send it. I can,
Yeah,
yeah, send it now. I think I can probably. Now, I will warn you if I start opening up links and things like that, that my
Jimmy
computer
might
might shut
drop
down,
off.
and Mike will be by
And
himself
then
for a
you
couple
get a
seconds.
big image of just me, and nobody wants that.
Um, but yeah, if you want to send it, I'll try to. I'll see if I can do it without shutting down the show, like I've done in the past. My pops is just like you. Clark says, loves Solo so much. I enjoy it too. So, um, but yeah. So, Mike, tell me, because you come up with this thought, you come up with this
Hmm.
thing, and you in the text message. Let me see if I can find it. Because you're like, because I mean, Mike. I mean, he knows from listening to the show like what I love,
Hmm.
and uh, all the Steeler stuff we gotta
Yeah, yeah.
cipher through. What do you think about revisiting your favorite movie for a review? I would have to find time to rewatch this weekend, but there was a lot to talk about with Solo, and I'm like, I'm always down to watch Solo and talk about it. Working on a clip right now, actually, because I was gonna do a love letter to Solo,
Hmm.
and then you asked me to do this, and then
And we're putting out the love letter to Solo right now.
yeah, and then we're putting it out too, and um, so
So
Mike, you
yeah,
rewatched it. When was the
I
last
did.
time? When was So wait, I need to walk because people know where I'm coming from. So
Yeah.
I want this to be about you too. When was the last time um before your rewatch that you watched
Hmm.
Solo? Was it when you were binging everything, or was it before that?
Nope. Before that would have been when it came out. Like
Oh, really?
it wasn't like some people saw, they're coming out with a Solo movie and it just, turned them off right away. I was into it. I wanted to check it out and I did. And I just it this didn't grab me at the time for whatever reason. I was interested in rewatching it and seeing what was it about it that just didn't work for me. And damn if I could find it. I'll tell you honestly, after binging all the other content that I have over the past year or so, um, it made it. There's more things stood out. Like I caught some of the Easter eggs and things like that. Like uh, I forget who said it to him, but somebody complimented Beckett on taking out Aura Singh. And
Oh,
when I watched it the first time, I would have never known who that Aura Singh was,
yeah.
and just little things like
Fantastic.
that. I'm like, oh, I know that person.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that is definitely because I actually caught something I hadn't heard in
Hmm.
the 50,000 times I've watched it this past week. So yeah, I mean that happens, and I can see knowing more and being more into it.
Hmm.
The universe. I can see why. Um, Dad Vader, what's up? He says he's currently rewatching Acolytes.
Hmm.
It's good. Get those
And he
numbers
didn't
up.
like it. And Dad
Uh,
Vader didn't really like the Acolyte, but he's going back.
think he was like in the middle, maybe. Well, no, I don't know. Dad Vader. What
He
was you
had
gave
some
it? Like
problems.
yeah. So yeah, but anyway, so all right, where do we at? My score going up on Acolyte binge watch. I said that. I think binge
Yeah,
watching helps goes immensely because you're not pissed off because episode 4 didn't go anywhere.
yeah.
So 6.5 out of 10. So yeah, I mean, so it's a passing grade. I mean, a lot of my
Kind of.
students take a 65. So, but anyways, yeah. So Solo, like, is that it? I mean, what, what are your thoughts, man? Like, talk to me about Solo.
Well, so like I said, when I watched it the first time, it just for whatever reason didn't grab me. There was something about it, and like I said, I can't. It was when it first came out, so it's hard to think back to really realize what it was. And I was hoping, in watching it, that those things would come back to me. And I figured that I would have a better viewing experience this time, just because more versed in the Star Wars lore, and just knowing that a friend of yours really enjoys something, you're going to give it a different look. So I didn't go into it thinking, I'm going to pick this apart and, try to, you know, be a counterpoint really, but I wanted to find something that I could push back against that, oh, that didn't really work for me or this or that. Because it's kind of boring when we're all both on here just like living on this movie, but it was really great. And it is a good Star Wars story. Like it really does. It sets up the character so well. I mean, like it. There's so much tragedy. That's one thing I know. There's so much tragedy in the movie, but so many shows nowadays, like really, they hit you with the tragedy and you dwell in it. And like in Solo, it happens, and you just buck up. I got to keep going on. They don't dwell in the tragedy. It keeps moving, but you realize how it's affecting the characters and whatnot. And I mean, just the Han Solo that we grew up with, it really does set up and tell the story of why he is and how he became, and you know what I mean. Like it's really well executed and just a fun movie.
And you coming into this whole world a little bit like behind us, some of us,
Mhm.
you know anything about like all the nonsense that like about
I
like how
do.
they fired
Yeah.
everybody?
I figured I figured that, you're a lot well, not a lot better versed in all that stuff, so you can definitely talk about that, but I do know some of the controversy and stuff that came with the movie. And I mean, this movie really changed the plan for Lucasfilm.
Yeah, it changed a ton because it didn't do well. Like
Mhm.
it bombed. I mean, they had all these stories planned. Kenobi was going to be a movie. Boba Fett was going to
Movie.
be a movie. There was talks
Mhm.
at one point that Boba Fett and like Solo were going to have like these scenes that like one happened from Solo's point of view and one happened from Mando's point of view, and you'd see
Yeah.
both those scenes from different points of view as in the movie, which
Yeah.
that would have been epic. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen that before. But then none of that really transpired. I mean, Ron Howard came in and saved the day.
Mhm.
I wish he would direct more Star Wars films. I mean,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
probably
he knows what he's
and
doing.
his daughter's doing an amazing job. So, like,
Mhm.
I'd love to see those two like team up together and do something. That would be
Yeah.
phenomenal. Like, just
Yeah.
she's great, he's great, and they could probably just bond over it. And I think they'd knock it out of the park. I think,
Yeah.
but I love
Now
all of her episodes of Star Wars.
when
But
when this came out, this is when Disney was going for, or Star Wars was going for, a movie every 6 months, wasn't it?
that was the rumor. It was going to be like every 6 months or whatever. And I don't know,
Mhm.
every year and a half, maybe. I don't know. They wanted to
Yeah.
be more like
Something.
Marvel, and they wanted to start pumping out the material.
Yeah.
Now, I think without a connecting story, because I mean that's one thing about Marvel, and I think they've kind of learned that, and they're using it in their Disney Plus shows, like the Mandoverse or whatever. How that's all
Mhm.
connecting. But like, if you're just doing like these one-offs, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's going to be nearly as successful as what Marvel is doing. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're making good, solid movies, it would have been.
Mhm.
I don't buy
Mhm.
into fatigue, Star Wars fatigue. Like, I get overwhelmed
No.
sometimes because of, like,
Yeah. It's
doing
just
these
too much.
shows. Like, I got a book I gotta go upstairs and read right after this. I'm trying to play
Mhm.
the video game. I'm also trying to,
Mhm.
not get fired from my job. And, so, um, I get that aspect, but if it's good
Mhm.
content, I'll eat it up, more,
Yeah.
more, more. And,
Yeah. Yeah,
so there were
it's
some
kind of a
serious
shame.
issues. I talked to Ross a little bit. I can't say some of the stuff he told us, but there were pretty good reasons those 2 dudes got fired from.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't really come out and say anything, and he didn't. Like, I mean, he's a good dude. He was happy to be on the show, but, um, and, but he kind of he talked about something that happened and something that someone witnessed, and it was,
Yeah.
yeah, Lord and Miller got bounced for being knuckleheads, and these guys
Mhm.
were those are the Lego Movie guys,
Yeah.
and but yeah, so, like, yeah, Dad Vader says, "I'm looking at the Star Wars schedule, and it's looking super slim for the next few years." Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sucks. I mean, I know they're regrouping and they're trying to fix things. They were let go because they didn't follow. Yeah, they weren't following the script, and they were wasting a lot of money. So
Yeah. That's ter
yeah, they did what they wanted. I think, yeah, it was maybe a bit of a jump going from Lego movies to a live action
Yeah,
Star Wars.
big.
They let them
Yeah.
do like Lego Star Wars stuff. That'd have been awesome. Full
Yeah.
length
Well,
Lego Star Wars movie. That'd
2
be
weeks, right? About 2 weeks until,
yeah, September
Rebuild the
13th.
Galaxy comes out.
Yeah.
13th, yeah. Can't wait.
So,
But yeah, I mean, why did the movie bomb so bad in your opinion? Or
well,
maybe not in your
coming
opinion,
out
what
of coming out of the Last Jedi was, I mean, the Last Jedi split the family. That's where I think it all started. For me personally, everyone's gonna have a different spot. Like, Dad Vader's on here, Brandon's on here. They all do this stuff, and and RFB's part of this. Seriously, Star Wars is here. He'll have a great take too. I think that this divide in the fandom. And I know there's issues with like the other movies, but it was never as bad as it has been. And I think it all kind of started with the Last Jedi split the fan base. I mean, people just lost their minds. I mean, bashing on Kelly Marie Tran. And, that's where like they started attacking her as a person for her role, which is just asinine. And it just has never recovered. So then 6 months later, they were just pounding on them. I mean, you have these massive, massive YouTube channels and social media people saying, "Don't go see it. Let's stick it to Disney." And so uh I would think that they probably, if they're in control of 3-4 million people, I'm not sure
Mhm.
how many people. I mean, we'll say this about Americans, and sometimes people don't do their own homework. They
Yeah,
don't.
for
They
sure.
don't think for themselves. They just go off of what you sit there and you think someone's like. I used to listen to certain. I don't want to say any names, but I used to listen to certain people when I first started getting back into Star Wars, and I thought everything they were saying was true. I'm
Mhm.
like, man, these guys are really angry. They never seem to like anything, you know. And so I honestly, for me, I feel like it all just kind of exploded after The Last Jedi, and then those creators all became more and more popular, the more they spread the hate.
Yeah.
Then for some reason, they did not advertise Solo very well. Like, there were hardly any toys out. They had this weird campaign with Denny's. Um, yeah, I mean, nothing says Star Wars like going to Denny's for a movie
Yeah.
over Miami.
Well,
Um,
depending on what time you go into Denny's, there are some alien-looking characters.
Yeah. Major says Kelly Marie Tran is a national treasure. I agree. I didn't necessarily care for her character, but like, why would I be mad at her?
Yeah.
You know?
Silly.
Here's Mad Vader says Last Jedi tanked and first film up was gonna have cards stacked against it. Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, tanked, it made $1 billion, but yeah, it tanked
Right.
as far as like opinions, you know, and I I try really hard to try to find something in The Last Jedi to love. I like it and I don't really like it, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
but I feel like it all started there, and then Solo just there was constant rumblings from behind the scenes, reshoots and all these things, which happens on every movie. Like they reshoot stuff constantly. Like they have to. Like you're never going to have like the perfect thing, and
Right.
then they had to try to fix it. Um, but it was surrounded like everything that could go wrong was going wrong.
What's going on?
And then of course they go out and they got Ron Howard, which was like, I mean, most people like our age like love Ron Howard movies. I mean, he's made great
Hmm.
movies,
Hmm.
and so he came in and swooped in, and I think there were issues with the was it Michael Giacchino who did the soundtrack? I think he only had like 6 months to pull it all together
Hmm.
for whatever reason because someone got sick or backed out on something. I mean, it just was one thing after another, and then all the hate for the Last Jedi spread to that, and people were mad, and Disney's ruining Star Wars, and that's where it really started because people were kind of neutral and still hopeful after because most people walked out of the Force Awakens
Hmm.
having had fun.
Yeah.
But then someone's like, "Well, it was just Star Wars all over again," and people are like, "Oh, well, that's kind of true." But
Hmm.
it's like it's reintroducing Star Wars to a new
Hmm.
group of people, whatever. It's different enough. I mean, it was very similar. I mean, they even make
Hmm.
the joke, "Oh, it's just bigger," like so.
I
It's
loved
you're
it. I mean, that's one of the new trilogy that I saw multiple times. Like it it hit all the right notes for me. It's like, oh, this is it again. It's coming back.
yeah.
But yeah.
So, in my opinion, I say this is an OG fan. The fan base split itself. A film is just a film. Well, yeah, I agree with you too, Imperial. I think people were just looking for a reason to be angry, and that movie was like the spark, I guess, that
Yeah.
gave them some reason to kind of explode. Because I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say people are and aren't fans or whatever, because that's not me. That's not for me to say. Um, Everyone sees things differently, but yeah, it just I mean, for almost 6 months leading up to Solo was just one thing after another coming out in the news, and they didn't really do anything very well. And the advertising and the social media campaigns and stuff, it's nothing, um, really, and it was almost like and it was up against oh, man, someone's gonna have to remind me. I think it was up against was it
I
Deadpool
don't know.
2? It was
This
up
is what I
against
wanted
Deadpool
to
2
know.
and
Yeah.
something else.
Mm.
So there were 2 big movies that came out, and it got, like, sandwiched in between them.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're not, like, a diehard Star Wars fan, I almost said Steelers,
You
if
may
you're not a
not. Yeah.
diehard Star Wars fan and you have to choose between what is gonna be top-notch funny,
Hmm.
although I didn't think that Deadpool 2 was as good as 1, and I think 3 is better than all of them, but, um, I can see why people would go and pick those movies over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not like, "I don't want this," and people are like, "Oh, it's" and that was the thing that used to frustrate me too, Mike, was, "Well, we don't need this movie." Well, what movie do we need? Like, we don't need any movies, like, it's
No.
all fun and crazy talk, it's just silly
Hmm.
stuff, and, oh, hang on, Dad Vader, we're gonna get to that comment, buddy. I miss the days when there was more of a mystique around a film's production. Yeah, but now everything gets
Yeah.
leaked, and you're flying drones over, and
Hmm.
people make money off of leaking stuff on social media, which and then Hero Activists Me
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Well, honestly, way too much information gets out there about.
Dad Vader, that was not very nice.
there,
Not very
there's
nice,
way
Dad
too
Vader.
much information gets out there about many things. Like I know for like when we were kids, there was, for instance, there were Steelers players that I really loved. Nowadays, there is no athlete that I like because they're all on social media. They're all talking. There is no mystique. Like
No,
when you know everything about everything, it's not good. It's best to
no.
just, it's a little mystery is a good thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's how it all kind of, um well, so Dad Vader says, "How do you think a Fett movie instead of a Solo think that would have done well?" I feel if they neutered Boba Fett the way they did in the TV show and made
Mhm.
him a big softy, I don't think it would have done any better.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Sounds to
name
me like,
pulls people in.
yeah.
Maybe the
I don't
name
know. It
pulls
seemed like
people.
the deck was just too stacked against it regardless. Almost like Disney was committed to the release schedule, and they weren't going to budge. Like
Yeah.
they
Well,
wanted to
that's
pump out the movies, and if they, I mean, knowing this, I think if they would have waited, done a better
well,
campaign,
that
released it at the right time,
been
it
a
probably
big
would have done
argument
better.
if they would have held on to it and just
Hmm.
and released it in winter,
Yeah.
because it used to be May was Star Wars, but then things got tripped up when Harrison Ford got hurt on set of The Force Awakens, and to kind of push things, and then Christmas time it killed,
Hmm.
and so everyone's like, "Why don't you wait?" And you
It would have
know,
been great if they waited. That's I love a Star Wars movie at Christmas time. Like
yeah,
if they could have dropped one like every year at Christmas time, it would have been great.
I'd be there.
Hmm.
I mean, I
Going
went and
to a
saw it.
movie like on Christmas Day, I usually don't go anywhere. The only time that I've gone against that is when there's a good movie to go see. Like going and seeing a movie on Christmas Day is great.
I think so. Get some Chinese food and watch them. But
Hmm.
yeah, Dad Vader says he would like to have seen a bounty hunter story before he gets hired by Vader. Yeah, I think the potential's there, Dad Vader. For sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't think that. I think if it's like the Boba Fett we got in the Mando season 2, when he
Hmm.
shows up on Tython, whatever that planet was, and he just like wrecking shop and just messing fools up, that would have gotten. But if they're
Yeah.
gonna be there, I'm like, well, I'm turning over a new leaf.
Uh
I want
huh.
to be a bounty hunter now, like,
Yeah.
um, and let's get these mod guys driving real slow. So I have some complaints. See, I don't like everything.
Right.
Man, Boba Fett drove me nuts.
I
So
watched every episode though.
yeah. Oh yeah, I watch every episode, and if you liked it, you liked it. And I wasn't online saying this is the worst thing. Everyone should be fired. So
I know, like Boba Fett, I I watched maybe the first, I don't know, 3 or 4. I'm like, "What am I watching? This is
it
awful." And
was
then
weird.
I just flipped a switch in my brain, like, "This is a spaghetti western. Just enjoy it as a spaghetti
Yeah.
western." I'm like, "Oh, this is fun."
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, so
But
Solo had deck stacked against it,
mhm,
um, and I took a bunch of kids. Kind of been my thing with Star Wars movies. Every time one's released, we take a big group of kids.
yeah,
We take a bunch, and we saw that. I think I actually took one of my graduating athletes. He was getting ready to go to college, and we was close to him since he's been a little kid. So I'm like, hey, let's go see Solo together.
mhm,
He's like, all right. And that was the first time I saw it was with him, and we were blown away. And then I took a big group of swimmers from the summer team to see it. And I don't maybe that enhances it a little bit for me because I get to go and watch these kids have fun with it. It didn't
yeah,
help with did not help with The Last Jedi. I will say though, like I enjoyed The Last Jedi the most the second time I saw it, and that was
mhm,
with my swim team.
yeah,
You know, well, actually, that was the third time because I saw it twice in a row and fell asleep the second time because I was kind of bored. But yeah, so I mean, everything was stacked against it, and people went into it with a bad attitude. Every time I watch this movie, I love it more. I
yeah,
think this is the quintessential Star Wars movie. Like, this is what George Lucas wanted Star Wars to be. Like all the stuff he always says, like it's for fun, it's for kids, like,
mhm,
these silly adventures. Like that is all in Solo, a Star Wars story. And I
yeah,
mean, there are a couple things that I'm like, oh, like the name thing was a little cheesy, but
yeah.
you
That's
know,
I thought about that a lot, like
yeah, I mean, that's one
the
thing I'm kind of
Imperial
like,
giving him the solo. I wish
yeah.
he would have come up with that on his own, but
But I also
I mean,
think
that's
there's
a
more
petty gripe.
mystery to it now because what's his real last name? Who
Mhm,
is he?
yeah,
Like there's more mystery to Han Solo now that we've found out that that's not his real last name.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
whole thing out there. He could have a whole thing, you know what I mean? Like there's all this other
mhm,
stuff out there. And in the moment, you're like, ugh. But
mhm.
if you sit back and you think about it, and after you see it, 5, 10, 15, 30 times, you know, the next thing too for me, like the uh the coaxium. People don't
Mhm.
realize it. It changes price every single time they mention it.
Yeah.
Every time
Oh,
they
I didn't
mention it,
notice
it
that.
goes up.
Yeah.
Yes. So him and Kira, like it's 500-600 credits, right? And that's how things happen in life. Like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
how many ways do you spend your
Inflation.
bonus before you get it? Or you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So like it's that. Then they try to bribe somebody, and it's
Mhm.
it's like 800 credits easy, and then later on it's
Mhm.
like 1,000 credits. And then by the end of the story, it's like this ungodly amount of
Yeah.
money. Inflation in
Well,
Star Wars may be as bad
yeah,
as in
it
it.
makes sense, with the
But
inflation we're dealing with over the past couple of years,
yeah,
it all makes sense.
we got Corellia in live action, first time Corellian shipyards. All I was previously, yeah, I love seeing Corellia.
Mhm.
Um, some people complain, if we start from the beginning of the movie, I love the way it started with him, and the scroll, like
Yeah.
the not scroll, and he's taking off and driving. I mean, right from the beginning, he kind of, I was kind of into, like, I get it, like he's not Harrison Ford, but no one was going to be, and
No.
but
But
so,
regardless of that, that's the one thing
whoops,
that, you talked about how the deck was stacked against the whole movie. And I mean, things were stacked against him too, trying to replace or trying to be Harrison Ford, a character that Harrison Ford has made. That is a really tough ask of anybody. And dude pulled it off. Like, I don't know. I don't know how many people complain that, that he's not Han Solo. I don't, I don't, I'm not out there listening to all those comments and stuff like that. But
yeah.
in my opinion, he did a fantastic job.
If you
And that's a
watch
really
his
hard role.
mannerisms and things like that, like
Hmm.
he is Han Solo. He doesn't sound like Han Solo. That was a big thing. I can't remember the name of the other actor. He could pull off this gruff Harrison Ford voice,
Hmm.
but he didn't look anything like Harrison Ford either.
Right.
So you sound like that. I think that would be weird. Like, at least Alden was like, I'm going to be my own person. I'm going to have my own, you know, he was driving the character. Like, I could see where Aaron Aldenreich's Han Solo could easily become Han Solo that was in the cantina on Mos Eisley. Like, I
Hmm.
can see that journey easily.
Hmm.
Shooting this blaster, things he said, his
Hmm.
his his false confidence, like all
Hmm.
that stuff, and just the way he talks with Chewie. I
Yeah.
mean, just and then yeah, seriously, Star Wars has a good point too. The alternative to Disney Star Wars is no Star Wars at all because nothing was
Exactly.
so. The Dad Vader, yeah, we didn't know. Very agree. Okay, so Imperial's agreeing with about Maul.
Mhm.
Yes, everyone's jumping on seriously Star Wars. I wasn't sure we had the acting chops for it, but he pulled it off. Yeah, he hadn't been in a
Mhm.
lot of stuff until then, but um, yeah, Anthony Ingruber, because he does a great uh, Harrison Ford voice. Maybe not as good as Mark Hamill's, but he could have. That would have been weird. Yeah, when they did it for Maul, it wasn't Ray Park's voice for Maul. It was
Yeah.
actually Sam Witwer. Um, but it was Ray Park playing Maul. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, again, everything stacked against it.
Mhm.
People bash on Aaron or Eldon, sorry, and I thought he did a pretty good job. And every time I watch it more, and I don't know if it's because I've watched it so many times that he is a young Han Solo to me now. You
Mhm.
know, um, Kira, I never really cared for Amelia Clark. I mean, I thought she was fine in Game of Thrones. Wasn't the biggest Game of Thrones fan at the time. Didn't think she was good at all in the Terminator movies she was in. That movie
I didn't see
wasn't
that one.
very good, but I mean, Kira, you want strong female characters. I mean, this woman is taking over
Mhm.
Crimson Dawn,
Mhm.
and she's not all like, "Oh, save me!" Like
Right.
she's looking out. She's doing everything a man would do in these movies,
Mhm.
and she's doing it. I mean, better probably, and it's just, yeah. But no, not yet, Dad Vader. I'm going to. I'm definitely going for Rebel ScumCon #2.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I love Kira, of course, and then you get into all of it. Um, the crew, I think my biggest thing about Solo is that we didn't get more of Rio and Val and Tub, and
Yeah.
Beck. Would have
Mhm.
loved, I would still love a comic book run, a 4 or 5 episode comic book run that kind of tells their story. And I also think that like Ron Howard comes in, he's rushed, doesn't really realize the acting chops that he has in Thandie Newton. Like she's
Mhm.
phenomenal,
Mhm.
phenomenal actor. Is it hard for you to just not say actress? I
Yeah.
trip up on it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, when I
I
say
get it.
I think I have to
Yeah,
say actress when it's a female, but
yeah,
you don't. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It should be the easiest thing, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, this all of our life it was
Mhm.
actress and stuff. But
Mhm.
anyway, phenomenal actor. you've got Woody Harrelson. He's great in everything he
Mhm.
does. You had,
Mhm.
Jon Favreau voicing Rio was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Quentin Cartwheel, who was inside the green suit that was playing Rio, she did a great job bringing Rio to life. That crew
Yeah.
would have liked to seen a little bit, but that movie was, it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes long, but
Mhm.
would have been nice to get a little bit more of them. And that's
Mhm.
really my one of my would love more Rio, like we talked about last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love, love,
And
love
that's
more Rio.
yeah. That whole thing with the crew, that's one of the parts where I'm saying where yeah, like you're saying, if there was a little more with them, you would have been a little more connected because that's where the first, well, not the first, but that's where some of the big tragedy occurs. You know what I mean? When Rio gets shot
Mhm.
and dies, and then she blows herself up to take out the bridge. Like
You're not
that's
connected enough to
that's
feel it.
right. But at the same time, like they easily could have veered into like Harrison Ford's character could have just gone completely off because he lost his girl and whatnot and his crew. But like I said, they didn't dwell on the sadness, which so many movies and shows do nowadays, which it can be entertaining, but they wanted to keep I think they wanted to keep the show upbeat some,
Yeah.
roll
And I
with the
think
punches, keep moving. And yeah, that was
if we would have gotten more with that group and been a little more attached and they all die, and then Beckett
mhm,
does what Beckett does, where he's kind of callous about it.
yeah,
They look at them in that 30, 40 seconds that they're together, like they're in love. And I believe that those two, like Val and Beckett, are in love and they
hmm,
want to retire after this big score. And then he's like, all right, time to move on, like,
yeah,
don't
that
trust
seemed
him,
it,
blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it
yeah,
would have been even more impactful if they would have like
mhm,
broke our hearts that way. And then Beckett was just a slime ball that he is, a
yeah,
good-hearted slime. I don't even know if
right,
he was good-hearted at the end. Yeah, so that's really
yeah,
like
like you
my
said,
big complaint against the movie is
yeah,
that.
but with you, like you said, the movie being as long as it was too, I don't think as great as it would have been to see a little bit more with that crew and get a little more invested with that crew, the movie was in danger of being too long. So
Yeah,
I think I
I
think
think
they made
so.
the right call.
Yeah, I think so. And of course you got, um oh, then there was another thing too where the bad guy wasn't supposed to be, um yeah, Imperial about that. I was gonna say that Imperial as a fourth member of Beckett's original crew got killed in Minbomb, would have loved to have at least gotten to meet him. I would like a whole movie set like Minbomb looked,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that Saving Private Ryan feel, but with
Hmm.
Star Wars, like a movie like that, like an actual war movie set in the
Hmm.
Star Wars universe would be nuts.
Yeah.
'Cause that's that little
Yeah.
bit we got was so cool.
Heck, just expanding on some of the battles from the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
You could make a meal out of a lot of those.
Oh my gosh. And I think that would sell. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? That scene is so cool looking. Those mud skulls
Hmm.
look awesome. Um, yeah, it was World
Yeah.
War One
It
in
really
Star Wars.
was.
It
Yeah.
definitely looked like it.
Hmm.
Um, just awesome scenery and just, and right off the bat too, like you got Han saying like, well, we're the hostiles, it's their
Yeah.
planet, and that's
Uh-huh.
that's Han Solo, like,
Hmm.
and those are the little things right there that I don't think people gave it a chance.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I picked up something this last time that I hadn't noticed. I'm like, the more you watch this movie, the more it grows on you. And like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who like the movie are like, "Oh, it's going to be a cult classic later on," but I'm like, it should be liked now.
It
Like,
should be.
people give it a chance and don't sit there and be like, "Well, that's not Harrison Ford." Yeah, he's like 90. He's not coming
Yeah.
back. You know.
No, it'd be
So
terrible.
yeah,
You
you,
saw the
you
last
don't.
Indiana Jones. It'd be terrible.
Yeah, yeah. So, but and then him and Chewie meeting, that was
Oh, it was
pretty
great.
funny.
Mhm.
I mean, his tree walk is terrible, but I don't know if you noticed, like when he's getting pushed into the mud, he's getting that position where he is in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
Like,
didn't notice that,
so
but
it's
now that
kind
you
of like
mention
that.
yeah.
Um, and it's talking through that and him and Chewie, and then there's the scene with the shower and Rio and all those guys. And it's just I love it.
Mhm.
I love the action scene on the
Oh, yeah, the
Kandaics.
shower scene. Oh my god. That shower scene was great. It's the best shower scene in the Star Wars history.
Seriously, it was the best shower scene ever, yeah.
Yep.
So, and that apparently was a Ron Howard thing. I thought because like some of the
Yeah.
movie was left over from Lord and Miller, I'm like, well, that
Mhm.
definitely has to be a Lord Miller thing. And I think I can't remember where, but apparently it was a Ron Howard
Yeah,
idea.
that was great. But yeah, there's so many of those little points like you're saying of um Haunisms, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the things that they're planting the seeds of, this is how Han grew. And that could have been really poorly executed. Like, but to me, it came off really well. Like it wasn't crammed down your throat or anything like that. They were all brought forth naturally, and it like you said, you really can see this is where Han came from.
and
This is
he's not
building
gonna.
towards. They did a
Yeah,
really great job with that.
and he's not gonna show being sad. Like that's not Han Solo. He's gonna
Right.
keep. He's gonna cover it with a smile and
Hmm.
sarcasm, and
Hmm.
people are like, "Well, he didn't really seem upset." I'm like, "Well, I think they had 3 more movies planned.
Hmm.
Let him get to the point where he is sad, but
Yeah.
you canceled it after 1. You don't get to live out the ideas."
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, then the conveyance thing was really cool. I thought that was pretty, train heist. That was
Yeah.
fun. Train heist in space, like you can't
Right.
beat.
I
Um,
mean, those. It's always enjoy. Like the scenery is great. The action's great. The tension of it's all great. But those are the sort of things with me with a movie like Star Wars. They have spaceships. Like they could have easily just dropped it where they needed it. They don't need this train, but it is fun for the movie, no doubt
well,
about
yeah,
it.
I mean, you got to you got to drive that story.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and then of course you go Memphis Nest, right? So the first
Hmm.
time you watch that, imagine the first time when she takes off her helmet. I mean, the whole movie,
Yeah.
you're convinced it's a dude,
For
and then
sure.
she takes off her helmet, and it's this young Aaron Kellyman,
Yeah.
and you're like, that girl's like 12,
Hmm.
and she play. And I want more of her. I want to see what she
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Like,
That's one thing I can remember from my first viewing of it is when that reveal. It's like, what?
mhm.
That it is like out of left
And
field. You're not
yeah,
expecting it at all.
no, for it to be such a young girl, someone who's like you can tell is inexperienced, but people are following her. I really, 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 really hope because Erin Kellyman, she was in Marvel. I mean, she's a Disney person now.
Mhm.
They could bring her back in as Memphis Nest. And I will say, I got to meet her, the sweetest
Yeah.
person. I've told that story before, but we had that special needs kid when I was meeting her, and he was going to ask her to the prom, and
Mhm.
she did such a good job with them, and I was just immediately in love because of
Yeah.
how well she did with him. I thought that was just great the way she did it. But they could do more with them. You could imagine her
Absolutely.
and Saw Gerrera or
Mm.
something because I mean I don't really feel like she'd fall in line with Saw Gerrera's
No.
tactics or anything like that. But I mean, so there's that character. Dryden Voss wasn't even supposed to be um, that actor. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his
The
name?
Vision.
Yeah, the Vision. Paul
Mhm.
Bettany wasn't
Paul
supposed to be,
Bettany,
Paul
yeah.
Bettany did a great job,
He
but
is a
then,
freaking
um,
fantastic bad
yeah,
guy. Like, his
yeah,
intensity, like, you don't wanna
I think
mess
he
up.
loves it. No, and he has Kira, who he supposedly is like trusts no one more than Kira, and he's gonna
Uh,
slice her up if once he
mhm.
crosses her. There's no doubt that
That's
he's gonna.
Yeah, that's a real testament to Kira's toughness, like you were saying, strong female actresses or strong female actors or strong female characters, like, as a character having to deal with that guy, sit by his side all the time, someone is
Mhm,
like, in a second, he could turn and, like, he's just
just
a nut.
murder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
intense, so like, yeah.
it's a really good shout on, Seriously Star Wars. We can hope that Memphis Nest and her crew would show up in Andor season 2. That'd
Ooh,
be sick.
that would be.
'Cause I mean, that's still, like, pretty serious stuff. Michael K. Williams was the OG Dryden Voss. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a cat type creature. It wasn't gonna be
Mm,
like a humanoid. It was gonna be like a cat thing.
mm,
Um, so it was gonna be weird, but I mean, I wouldn't have mind seeing Michael K. Williams because he's a pretty good actor.
yeah, but
But
Paul Bettany did a
Paul
hell of a
Bettany
job.
crushed it, I thought, and he
Mhm,
only filmed for, like it's like 2 weeks or something he was there, or,
really?
like, a week or something. I mean, yeah, because he came in, did the scenes he needed to do, and then he bounced.
Yeah.
So again, more drama and more nonsense. If they really couldn't do any reshoots or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think they needed to. I think all his scenes are just fine.
yeah, I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Um, just a little bit of lines in his face, like people don't even notice that. Like when he gets
Mhm.
madder, the lines start getting redder and
Mhm.
redder and redder, and
No, I
that's like,
certainly noticed that. Mhm.
um, people miss those things the first time watching it. And and that's the thing about this movie is like there were so many little things. The more you watch it, I feel like it was a good enough movie from the start, but the more you watch it, the
Mhm.
more um, you are able to just pick up on it, and it just enhances the movie even more and more and more. I mean,
Yeah.
he just these little things, these little tidbits, these little looks or whatever. And we haven't even talked about um, Donald Glover yet as Lando.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Knocked it
he
out of the park.
and it was really hard for me because I had just gotten done binging Community. So to
Mhm.
see him as anything but that knucklehead,
Yeah. Right.
I was like, well done, because like that's
Yeah.
hard for me sometimes. That's a personal
Dude has
problem.
some acting chops.
Yeah. That guy is so talented.
Yes, absolutely. But like you were saying before about, the actor who sounded like Harrison Ford but didn't look like him, in this case, like, he doesn't look like Billy D. Williams, but he had that voice down, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was
It's just
smooth.
so smooth, so slick, like
He's like, "Oh,
yeah.
Kira," like, just you're like, "This guy is a dog," like,
Mhm.
mm, I
Like,
loved everything about him. That whole
yeah.
gambling scene makes me laugh every time.
Yeah. Oh,
That
yeah.
first
That was well
one is
done.
so
Mhm.
fun. Six Eyes and Scissors Therm Scissor Punch and all those guys are in there, and
Mhm.
Lando, like, "Everything you heard about me is true, baby," like, just oh my god, like,
Mhm.
just if you just
Smooth as
want
butter.
to have fun with that movie, there's no way you can. Like, I'm,
Yeah.
like, smiling ear from ear just thinking about that movie.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just there were so many good things about it. Of course, the story goes on, and you've got the double cross, and then you think about the way it ends too. Because I know we're getting, we're over an hour here, but Han shooting first. I mean,
Yep.
that's definitely
Yep. I
Dolores
was thinking about
Dolores
the same thing.
rising
Mhm.
and his son's, answering a question. You
Mhm.
know, like, I would have killed you, Han. I would have killed you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, John Powell score, and I think if correct me if I'm wrong, RSB, but he only had like 6 months to make that, right? Because he came in late or something too with everybody else. I think it's just bonkers. But um, that whole thing, the Kira takes off, she's stone cold,
Mhm.
Maul shows up. You're like,
Mhm.
what? And there's so much with that. Next
Yeah.
time we see Maul, he's stranded on is it Malachor? Where they meet him in that temple, and Ahsoka has to fight Ahsoka and
Mm.
Kanan and Ezra are together, and like he had been
Mhm.
stranded there by Kira. So I mean, she fooled a Sith Lord or a
Yeah.
Sith Apprentice or whatever. Like this girl needs her, like she needs not just to be in comics and books, she needs to be
Mhm.
a live action. Let her rip.
Yeah.
You know,
That
you
was
could
that was
tell.
another scene too that, on my first viewing didn't I mean, I knew who Maul was
Well,
from the
because
prequels and whatnot, but I didn't know the
you're like, isn't
connection
that
with
fool
the
dead?
huh? Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like,
Yeah, I
the
didn't
guy's dead,
didn't
isn't
get the
he?
connection at all. Yeah, so that having that, doing all that binging I did and having all that background knowledge just enhanced it further.
The kid I took to see it, he got it just from seeing the lights. He goes, "That's Maul." I was like,
Yeah.
"Shut up!" And then I was like, "Oh my," like, "What the hell?" Like, it's Maul. Like, he's in this.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't
there
know.
had to be like I think what did you say they were gonna make 2 more of those? 2 more solo movies
Yeah, I mean
maybe?
that was a rumor. Is
Yeah.
like Star Wars was always in threes, but
Yeah. I mean, they had to realize what a great character they had in Maul, and of course, they expanded him through the animateds and whatnot. But there has to be there had to be a want to bring him back live action and get more of Maul than what we had in the
yeah,
prequels. So
yeah. Ray Park's been losing his marbles lately on social media, so I don't think
mm.
he's coming back anytime soon. But you can easily make a Zabrak an actor
Yeah,
look like him.
yeah, there's enough
So
makeup.
yeah, and then you get Sam Witwer to. I mean, I bet you Sam Witwer could probably pull it off.
Yeah.
Makeup him, get him the makeup chair and doctor him up. I just think there's so much potential, and it doesn't even have to be Chewie and Han. It could be anything. I mean, Kira, Enfys Nest. a backstory with Tobias Beckett and those guys. Like you could do so much with the characters and stuff in this movie, and then
Mhm.
and it leads off in a place where I that clip I made, like the first time that Chewie sits down beside Han, like I get
Mhm.
goosebumps
Oh,
every time
yes,
because
yes, yes.
you're like
I Yeah,
here
that was
it,
another part I wanted to bring up too. Just that,
it's like
oh my god.
every time like this is where these two become Han and
Mhm.
Chewie. Like
Yep.
we love most people love Han and Chewie, and that's the moment it happened. And
Mhm.
you can say what you want about the movie, but you cannot deny the music
Yeah.
swells.
Mhm. Your
He
heart
sits down with his
swells.
yeah, you're like, "Oh my god, it's like best friends forever." Until his son kills him later on. But,
Yeah.
think about the adventures those fools had together. And
Mhm.
that's what I wanted, man. I wanted
Yes,
Han and
yes,
Chewie
yes.
adventures.
Mhm.
Ah,
Oh, and
just
you had Chewie
fills me with
ripping the
love,
arms off
man.
of, yeah, the Wookiee ripping the arms off story that,
Yeah.
they
Well,
paid that off.
and then, of course, Chewie losing
Oh,
why
yeah,
can't
the 3D chess thing,
yeah.
whatever
Why
they
can't I
call
think of
that.
the name? But he loses in that, and then you see him losing
Mhm.
in the original Star Wars movie. Like
Mhm.
Chewie hasn't learned anything. He's just a big brute, big lovable guy.
Mhm.
Um, but uh, Dejarik, it's called Dejarik. That's what it's called,
Did you
Dejarik. Um, and it's just those little things like that, and
Yeah.
Beckett. There's a lesson here, Chewie. There's a lesson here,
Mhm.
and like just those things pay off later on in the
Yep.
movie, and everyone's predictable, Han, and Han's like everyone is predictable, even
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Set him up, and I just, I don't know, oh, so many good things from this film, and it just had everything stacked against it. I don't know. I mean, I'm worried about any film ever getting a fair shot. Like
Yeah.
before it even comes out, half the population hates it.
Oh, yeah. I
You know
like,
what I
I
mean?
hardly see anything anymore
Yeah.
just because, like, unless it's something that, well, to be honest, it's really hard to find trailers for things anymore. Like, I don't have cable television anymore, so you're not just watching, you don't get as many advertisements. You
Mm-mm.
get whatever streaming service you're on, what they want to advertise to you. Like, they're
Yeah.
not advertising other people's movies. So you don't get in front of as many trailers as you used to. So unless something like really connects with me, I don't go see a whole lot of stuff because
Mm-mm.
if you don't have that connection, if you just wait to hear what's out there about it, you're right. So much of it's negative. Like, they talk you right out of spending your $20.
The biggest Star Wars podcasts and YouTubers are mostly negative. Now there are
Yeah.
some that are rising up, like a guy who loves Star Wars. He's at like 75,000 subs and things and he loves Star Wars. He always finds positive but you're dealing with fighting people that have 3 million
Mhm.
viewers. Like it's hard
Yeah.
to compete against that. I feel like that scene
People like to be
from
mad.
The Rise of Skywalker, where that there are more of us, and
Mhm.
it's gonna take some group unifying people to like stand up to all this hate.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna try to bring up this email, so what's probably gonna happen.
You're
So
gonna
just
drop out.
I'm gonna
My
drop
face
out
is
and
gonna
come
get
back.
real big on here.
So just please work. All right. All right. I'm trying to find actually RS. It hasn't come through. I wonder if it's in my spam. Here it is in the spam. All right. Let's see. Here he is. Yeah, I got it. Hang on. Our Imperial Activity says it's not coming through the video stream, which um how about what we'll do, I can do this for you because I want to answer and people to hear this. I will tack this on. I'll download it and I'll tack it onto the show. Mike and I can hear it, but I don't want people
Mhm.
to sit here and watch us staring at the screen, listening. Imperial. So I
That could be
will.
pretty awkward.
That is awkward. We will. That sucks that it's not coming through. And I can't do too much because I think it'll just
Yeah.
crash on me. But um, yeah, I will find some way to get your stuff on our show. If I can attach it at the end here, I will, or I'll plug it in. Um, Somehow I'll mess with it a little bit after we're done. I can work some magic.
Awesome.
But um, dang it, that stinks. Thanks, Imperial, for sending that in. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I always love hearing from you, but if it's not coming through, I'll have to work on that on my end of things. I don't know what that's about. I think I need to download it and then upload it into this, and I can guarantee that I will drop out 47 times. So, but I am like I want to talk to people about Solo. Like I can't say enough good things about it,
Yeah.
and we're going on. I
I
mean, we usually we're done in an hour, but I could probably go another hour and not even scratch the surface of this movie. I mean,
Well, I'm
how
sure most of the people on here watching are fans of yours and fans of Solo. Probably definitely have seen it. But hey, if you know somebody who hasn't seen it or for whatever reason saw it once and didn't enjoy it, go watch it again. Encourage them to watch it again. Encourage them to check it out. I mean, we're not going to change. I mean, I we're not going to start a revolution and get the next three Solo movies made. I doubt, but at least more people will see and enjoy it. Yeah, Jimmy
maybe
says, "Who
we do
knows?
start the
Maybe,
revolution.
maybe."
Maybe we are the revolution,
Woo!
and Solo is going to take over the world.
It
Everyone just
starts
needs
with
a
one
fun
man.
Star Wars movie, and that's
Yeah,
what it is.
it is. It is. It really, really is. It just, yeah, just a fun movie.
So
If you're having a bad day, can't think of what to watch, pop on Solo.
hop on Solo. Just do it.
Just do
Buy
it.
all the Solo materials you can get. I've got the Legos, I've got the Black Series, I got the Funko Pops, I've got signatures from Jonas, I've got signatures from was it Rio Kelly Cartwheel, I believe, and Aaron Kellyman. Like it's a goal of mine to meet. I'm not sure I'll ever get to meet Alden or not, but
Yeah,
and Donald Glover and those guys. But like I would love to meet all of them and get love, love, love Solo a Star Wars story. Love it. Love it, love
you
it, love
brought
it.
me around as well. It's great.
And it
It's great.
wasn't me,
It's still
it was your knowledge
it's
of
just
Star
watching.
Wars. And
Yeah,
just
yeah, and just giving it another shot. Really.
and
Now I
that's
got to go back and give the Last Jedi another shot.
good luck. I've tried. And I hope and for me, that's the thing though. This is the difference between like us and other shows. Mike, I hope when you
Hmm.
watch it that you love
Hmm.
it. You're like, "Oh, this makes much more sense. It fits." I've been hoping that happens for me. Every time I watch it, I'm
Yeah.
like, "All right, this is gonna be the time it clicks. I'm gonna
Hmm.
feel something I haven't felt before, and it's gonna be." Because I was talking to someone online today, and they're like, "That's my favorite movie." I'm like, "Well, I didn't really enjoy it, but I'd love to see Ryan Johnson get a trilogy of his own because I think he can tell really good stories and it's
Hmm.
beautiful." Just didn't work for me. But I
Just
want
didn't work.
you to love it. Like I don't
Hmm.
want people to hate it.
Right.
Like what's the point of being a Star Wars fan wanting people to hate stuff? It
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense. Just because I didn't enjoy it, just didn't click for me.
Yeah.
Why am I being so selfish? Like why would I?
Yep.
That's just selfish.
Yeah.
That's not being a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of things about the prequels I did not enjoy, but dude, most of the people probably on here, well, there's a lot of oldsters like you and I, but there's a whole nother generation of people that we communicate with and talk to that, that was what hooked them. So yeah,
yeah.
I mean, everybody has their Star Wars.
And Solo could be everyone's Star Wars. I
It
swear
could
it.
be. It
Swear
really
it.
could be.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just can't say enough good things about it. I could talk about it for days.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I want to start the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herds back up is that kids, our high school group of kids, is I want to show them that movie again through like
Hmm.
maybe my eyes. Like, hey, like check this out. Did you guys know this? And
Yeah.
just, there's references to Doc Ondar that I never even heard before,
Yeah.
and that's tying into like other things. And it's just like it just slips so much little stuff in there. And if, like you said, you know more than you did the first time you watched it, and you enjoyed it
Mhm.
more because of it. Now, a movie
Mhm.
shouldn't depend on that,
No,
right? It
no.
shouldn't depend on that, but it's there. It's
Mhm.
there for the taking. So
Mhm.
I
And
don't know.
even without all that, I really think I would have enjoyed it more the second time around. Just, like I said, knowing that my buddy, this is his favorite movie, you see it with different eyes, and it's
Yeah.
just good. It's just really good.
I just can't. And then at the end, when he gets Lando, takes his Psylop card,
Yeah.
beats him fair and square.
Mhm.
Just and that sets up
Yeah,
the whole. That's maybe who knows. That's the last time they see each other until I don't think it is,
maybe.
but like that's the last time they see each other until they land on Bespin,
Yeah.
in Cloud City. In you won it. I won it fair and square, and all this stuff. And just pretty awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. So yeah, Serious of Star Wars says the same thing I do. Like,
Yeah.
he really wants. Did you like The Last Jedi, Chris? Like, did you enjoy it? I didn't really. I don't feel like it fit those two movies. Like that's the whole doesn't fit in the middle of the two movies that are on the other sides of it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it flowed very well from that one, but I would like to see Ryan Johnson because I like most of his movies.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, we probably should wrap this up. It's late for Mike. He's got to go and deliver
Yeah.
mail. He doesn't want to
No, I'm
deliver
off
to.
tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go. We'll keep you up for
absolutely.
another hour at least. Let's go. Let's dive in. Now, let's dive into Solo a Star Wars tour because we've been scratching the surface, man. It's been
Yeah.
scratching the surface. I still might have to make my love letter to Solo, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I can start the revolution.
Maybe. Starts with a dream, my friend. Starts with a dream.
So anyway, yeah, it was fun tonight.
I
And
enjoyed it.
thanks for joining us. Thanks for everyone who joined us over on Instagram. See that Force Goes Conversations joined us there for a little while. Um,
Really
Chris said,
appreciate y'all.
"What's he say? Yes, sir. The Last Shadow was my favorite of the sequel trilogy. Nice. I thought TFA and see. All right, and I'm glad that you feel that way. Like I'm not like, oh, you're such a stupid Star Wars fan. You don't know anything about Star Wars. Like, hey, that's your Star Wars, and I love it for you, and that's
Mhm.
what I want. And I'm still trying to find my way to that movie. But anyways, maybe we can talk about that sometime too. That
Yeah. Mhm.
where we're at with those.
I mean, that's yeah, I need to, rewatch those for sure. So,
Seriously, Star Wars is a YouTube channel. His name is Chris. I don't believe he doesn't really do because he does a lot of stuff with Funko Pops and every Saturday we had some trivia stuff he was doing for a while, and then he's got his own live. I think he goes live right before we go live, so it was awesome that you come over and join us. But yeah, you can check him out on YouTube for sure. He's a great content. If you do any collecting, Chris has a phenomenal collection of Funko and some other things. So you should check him out. And I've been on his show. He's been on our show a couple times. A great guy. But people are all of a sudden just joining, and we're just about to wrap it up. So sorry, everyone. 8 o'clock next time,
yeah.
Central Standard Time. Mike's got to get to bed. So, but yeah, Mike, thanks for this topic.
Absolutely, this was fun.
I just ran around saying the force is with me. I wanted the force whenever you suggested it, and so like, wow, the force is with me. You know, the force has willed it. But yeah, you got a quote or anything you want to finish off with?
No, just may the force be with y'all.
Yeah, and I never change mine. This would be the one time I would, but I'm going to stick with it. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so
Nothing
much.
in Star Wars brings me as much joy as Solo. I don't know if you can tell by
You are a
my
happy man.
demeanor, my happiness right now, but just thanks for everyone for joining us. If you got things you want to say about it, let us know.
Yeah, if there's
Uh,
anything you guys want us to talk about or cover on here,
yeah,
we love the fan interaction. You guys make the show what it is. So yeah, drop us a line. Let us know what you want to hear.
and for all of us, we have spoken. And we'll see you
Good
guys
night,
next
everybody.
day. And we'll do that awkward thing where I try to end the stream and I can't.